friends, greetings to you. Today we will go directly to the news, as there have been many events in the world that require attention. Let's begin. In the United States, after several months of relative calm, again there was an incident with trains, and this time it was quite serious. There was a train derailment and people had to be evacuated. At the Union Pacific Railroad Bailey Yards Railroad Station in Nebraska, a car carrying chloric acid exploded. Chloric acid is used to make explosives, as well as in the food and drug industries. Local firefighting services in the town of North Platte took evacuation measures for the public due to the fire and heavy toxic smoke. Details of the incident are reported by local journalists. There is no information yet on the cause of the disaster and explosion, as well as casualties or fatalities. We will be following developments and will bring you more information as soon as it becomes available. And here are already very tense scenes from Bangladesh, where a fire raged for 6 hours at a major market in the capital Dhaka. In fact, it wasn't just any market, but a shopping complex including 4 bazaars with about 3,000 stores. According to rescuers, extinguishing the fire was delayed due to the lack of water and the many people who gathered at the scene, hindering the actions of rescuers and just watching. The fire started early in the morning, around 6 o'clock, and 48 brigades were involved in its extinguishment, to which even the military came to help, as well as Air Force helicopters. Despite the efforts of the firefighters, the fire spread too fast and many retail outlets were completely destroyed in the first hours. Much of the merchandise could not be salvaged and was lost to the fire. There are no confirmed reports of fatalities at this time, which is some positive news. However, 5 firefighters were injured and the cause of the fire is still unclear. Among the speculation from traders is a theory of possible arson. Let's go back to the United States for a moment to discuss a fact that doesn't always come to light through official sources. Catastrophic events in the United States this year have reached a record number. Since the beginning of this year, there have been 23 weather and climate disasters in the country. All of these incidents have resulted in total damages exceeding $1 billion in each case. However, officials can take comfort in the fact that the economic damage caused by the disasters in 2023 has not yet exceeded the catastrophic value set in 2017. Recall that was when the U.S. experienced Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria, which left a deep mark. Nevertheless, this year's natural disasters have claimed the lives of 253 people in the United States, with total damages already exceeding $57.5 billion. And it's worth remembering that the year isn't over yet. According to forecasters' predictions, there are several potential climate threats that could bring even more losses and squeeze more money out of the budget. Among such threats are Tropical Storm Hillary and drought in the southern and midwestern United States. By the way, according to the European Union's climate monitoring data, this year's summer in the Northern Hemisphere turned out to be the hottest in the history of observations. Let's move on to news from Europe, where for the past few weeks the people of Spain have been having a tough time. Similar to last week, the Spanish capital, Madrid, was hit by unprecedented downpours. In Madrid, streets were flooded, water penetrated the first floors of homes, cafes and restaurants, and flooded the lobbies of the subway. The storm caused disruptions to the subway system, and traffic on Line 7 and 9 was temporarily suspended. In addition, some busy roads such as M40 and A2 had to be temporarily closed. Authorities had to issue a yellow rain warning. In just 1 hour, 20 millimeters of rain fell from the sky. As a result, more than 340 different incidents were recorded in Madrid and the surrounding areas. Of course, the situation in Spain cannot be compared to the horrific events that continue to unfold in suffering Libya. The number of casualties due to flooding in the east of the country is increasing every day. According to the latest data, the number of dead has already exceeded 11,000 people, and about 20,000 citizens are considered missing. These horrific figures were reported by Al Arabiya TV channel, referring to information from the Red Crescent branch in Libya's Benghazi. Officials have also indirectly confirmed these terrible losses. A representative of the local parliament, Abdullah Bulhak, said that thousands of unidentified bodies lay in the streets of the city as well as in the sea, and there is currently no way to bury them. Storm Daniel hit the east of the country on Sunday, and the most affected city was Derna. This city was completely flooded after 2 dams collapsed and the water inundated an area with a volume of 30 million cubic meters. According to the authorities, a quarter of Derna is completely destroyed and the city has been declared a disaster zone. Why are they planning to introduce curfews and mandatory sterilization for cats in Australia? Incredibly, such measures are actually being discussed. All this is done with the aim of preserving biodiversity. The problem is that Australia currently has an overabundance of feral and stray cats, as evidenced by local zoological organizations. This has become a serious threat to the country as cats kill more than 1.5 billion other animals every year, including native birds, mammals, reptiles, and frogs. Australian authorities have decided to take steps to address the problem by targeting both feral and domestic cats. The Australian Minister of Environment and Water Resources has proposed at the regional level the introduction of curfews for domestic cats, as well as mandatory sterilization and limiting the number of cats in households. However, not everyone supports these initiatives. Some believe that such measures are unnecessary and create moral pressure on pet owners, while they do not solve other environmental problems. Flash forward to Russia, where 2 elderly hikers nearly fell victim to an adventure in Kamchatka. In a mountainous area, deprived of communication and food, they survived only thanks to a rescue operation. These hikers started their hiking trip back in late August, but unfortunately got lost and faced serious difficulties. Later, due to dead batteries in their walkie-talkies, they lost contact with the outside world. The rescue service was notified by their loved ones and the Americam launched a search operation. Dozens of rescuers took part in a large-scale search, covering an area of 400 square kilometers. They searched for the missing tourists both on volcanoes and glaciers, even following tourist routes. Nevertheless, the pensioners remained unaccounted for. The tent and travelers were found only on the 9th day of the search on the Bogdanovich Glacier. All this time the elderly people were on self-support, only having water. Currently, the condition of the men, who are 70 and 72 years old, is assessed as satisfactory, but they are severely exhausted and were taken to a hospital in Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky. Friends, what are your personal opinions on recent events in the US, such as the derailment of a train carrying dangerous chemicals? Don't you think that such incidents in a country can negatively affect the environment? Maybe the US authorities should monitor the situation inside the country more closely? What do you think about the spate of catastrophic events and natural disasters in the United States that seem to be breaking all records? Do you empathize with the people of Libya and wonder who and how should be held responsible for so many casualties in a disaster? What do you think of the Australian officials' initiative to impose curfews on cats and mandatory sterilization? Do you support such measures, or do you think they are unnecessary? And finally, what are your thoughts on the rescue story of the elderly hikers who survived in extreme conditions for 12 days? What kind of experience and resilience did they probably have to show to survive in such challenging conditions? Please share your views and comments. May peace and goodness be with you and your families, and don't forget to take care of yourselves and our common planet by always being human beings with a capital letter.